This is Melissa Garland, and this is my literacy case study presentation. If I have to cough during this, please forgive me. I have been sick lately, so I might get, I might have to cough a little bit, so just forgive me. Okay, I'll get started. So, I wanted to start off with a little bit of an introduction to my school and my student, just because I think I have a little bit of a unique situation with my school and the student that I chose. So I work at LOA, which is Lake Oconee Academy in Greensboro. That's about halfway between Atlanta and Augusta. And my school is a charter school, and especially compared to the schools around our area, the school has extremely high expectations for students. We are extremely successful when you look at our test scores and other areas of measure, but the way that we're able to do that is we have an an excellent support system for our students. So that includes parapros at every single grade level. So that's almost unheard of, especially in our area. Another support that we have to help our kids be successful at LOA is that we require after-school tutoring time for all of our teachers. So obviously not all of our students are required to attend after-school after-school tutoring. All of our teachers are required to tutor each day after school, and it's completely up to us which students we think need to come to tutoring. So that's up to us as a teacher. We can request that any child come to tutoring. Since we are a charter school, none of our students ride buses anyways. All of their kids are dropped off and picked up by parents or family members. So it's not a huge inconvenience for parents to come get them 45 minutes late after school from tutoring, because they were just going to come pick them up anyway. So they're just doing it about 45 minutes later. So we have a great support system in that. So that kind of leads into my student that I chose for my tutoring. So her name's Ellie, and she's in third grade. I'm a third grade teacher. It's only her second year at LOA. When you look at Ellie's test scores, you wouldn't necessarily think that she was an extremely low reader. However, just in our school, she is significantly lower than a lot of her peers. And a lot of that is due to her being just a second year LOA student. Another thing that sets our school apart is that we're pretty small. We've only got 60 kids at grade level, and all of our students have been together since preschool, because we are a pre-K through high school school. So all of our kids have been together, and they've had that same level of support and that same high expectations as long as they've been in school, since they were about 4 years old. And Ellie kind of came in late. So when she came to us in second grade, she was a lot lower than than her classmates, and immediately her teachers took her in for tutoring and did a lot of extra help, gave her a lot of extra help. So she already has come a good long way compared to where she was when she joined us. But that kind of explains why when you look at her data, she may not scream out, "Oh wow, she's so low," but just in comparison to our other students, she is. Now, Ellie has an extremely supportive family, and she's a very motivated and enthusiastic little girl, so I had a really good time tutoring her. Another thing about me, just a side note, is I'm not her English teacher. I am a third grade science and social studies teacher. So while I do incorporate reading and writing a lot into my science and social studies, I'm not her primary reading and writing teacher. So I did have to do a good bit of communicating with her teacher for that. Okay, so that's a little bit about us. So I'm going to pull up her pre-assessment data chart, but the main things that I think that are noteworthy are that her weaknesses are mostly in phonics, fluency, and in writing, and those were our focus areas in tutoring. So I'm going to X out and go to our data chart. So you can see here her phonemic awareness. I used just a general phonemic awareness screener assessment from Literacy Resources Incorporated. She got 94%, which I think is pretty typical for a third grader at the beginning of the year. Most of her struggles were with identifying multiple letter sounds for one letter, so like a hard C, soft G, things like that, C's, G's, S's, which I don't think that was a huge issue for me, just because of her age. And additionally, identifying some final and medial sounds in words. So I hypothesized that some phonics would help with those problems. so it wasn't a huge concern. Phonics, what I did for her inventory, for her assessment on phonics, was the Words Their Way spelling inventory, which is what her ELA teacher recommended to me. So that assessment, if you're not familiar with it, the Where's Their Way spelling inventory, I said a word out loud and she wrote it down how she thought it was spelled. So that kind of gives us an idea of what she can hear and what she knows about words and word patterns. So we assessed two different things on that, the how many words she just spells correctly, and then the feature points, which is just the different elements within a word that she got correctly. And that kind of really helps the teacher narrow down specifically what she needs to work on. So she got 12 out of 25 words spelled correctly, which was only 48%, but she got about 73%, 45 out of 62 of her feature points. Her consonants, digraphs, blends, and short vowels were okay. She struggled with a lot of word and vowel patterns, so that was one thing that we worked on, was a lot of that word patterns. And another thing was suffixes and prefixes and bases and roots, things like that. Vocabulary, she got 11 out of 14, which wasn't terrible. I used the Scholastic inventory for that one. She got 11 out of 14, so, oh, and I noted that 2 of her 3 mistakes were involving prefixes and suffixes, so I thought that when we worked on prefixes and suffixes with Words Their Way, that would be helpful to her vocabulary as well. Fluency was definitely the biggest issue that I noted with Ellie, and I've actually noticed that in class even without doing this assessment. I used the QRI-5, and what I used was a fiction and a nonfiction on level 3 because she's 3rd grade. So when I averaged those two together, she had 63 correct words per minute, which Scholastic recommends that 3rd graders at the end of the year read 114 words per minute, so that's obviously not where she should be. Also, I noted that her fluency, not just her speed is low, but she's also really slow and kind of choppy. So we needed to work on her prosody as well and expression. Comprehension, she was actually okay with comprehension. I know that background knowledge on topics can really affect that, so I don't know how much that affected her comprehension on these passages that we used, but she got an instructional level 3 on fiction. She got frustrational nonfiction on level 3, so that's where I stopped on her. However, that vocabulary and topic could have been tricky for her as well. Finally, her writing, that was another big area of weakness that I noticed. I did an expository and persuasive writing rubric. It was a persuasive writing topic, and she only got 18 out of 33, which was a 55%, which was definitely not what it should be for writing. Her main weaknesses was she didn't have a good closing. She had a lot of unrelated and unexplained support, and definitely needed a lot more organization and conventions. So those were the areas of weakness there. So phonics, fluency, and writing were her focus areas for tutoring. So here's just an overview of our tutoring plans. I kind of split it up. There were 10 sessions overall. I spent 4 sessions on fluency, 4 sessions on phonics, and 2 sessions on writing. So I kind of just broke them down, just kind of split them out so it wasn't all fluency up in a row, and I just kind of mixed it all up. So the first one was fluency, and for fluency we had a lot of fun. It was Fluency Idol, which was in one of the articles that we had to read for this class. And the idea behind Fluency Idol is that the student, or it's supposed to be for a whole class, and they're all supposed to read different poems and perform them as songs, either to the tune of an existing song or make up their own tune and kind of perform that poem or short story for the class, and the class is supposed to vote and decide whose was the best. So I obviously had to modify that, being only one student, but I knew this would be a really good idea for Ellie because she needed to work on fluency, and she's also got a really funny personality. She loves singing and dancing and being silly, and her mom noted that on her little questionnaire that she did, and so did Ellie, and I've picked up on that myself, so I thought that would be fun. And it was a really good opportunity to introduce her to some poetry that she may not get in her regular ELA class. So we did 4 fluency idols, which we had a lot of fun with. She struggled a little bit with trying to be creative and coming up with a tune, so I had to kind of give her some ideas on what tunes to use, and I really had to help her out a lot at first. But then she really enjoyed performing it for, she performed it for her parents and for the other teachers on the hall, so that was pretty fun. We did a phonics lesson on oi, which was in the within word patterns. Then another poem for fluency idol, and then a phonics words their way, ER and R. Oh, and what we did for the words their way phonics lessons were we did word sorts, which if you know anything about words their way, they're just kind of an open word sort. We did it on the smartboard, and it was just a virtual sort, and so she got to come up with the way to sort the words, and we kind of discussed them, discussed the patterns, and then she had to kind of just sort the words according to the patterns. For writing, we did 2 sessions on writing, and I actually did those back to back because we were working on one piece together. And that's actually, the first one is the one that I recorded, so I'll show you just a really, just for lack of time, I'll show you a short portion of that writing lesson. What I did is I showed her an example of another student's persuasive writing, and then I introduced her to an outline. I put one outline on our easel and then printed it out for her as well, so she kind of filled in her own claim or hook, claim, and then reasons and conclusion. So all she kind of had to do was fill it in, and I'll show you that in just a second. And as you can see, lesson 6 was another writing where we kind of read over that, revised it, and created a final draft. Fluency idol again, words their way, where we worked on EU or EW, I'm sorry. Then another phonics where we worked on suffixes, and we kind of worked on prefixes as well there. We discussed it. Then finally another fluency idol. So I'm going to really quickly, we're kind of running out of time, and I'll show you a little section of me introducing Ellie's outline to her.
I know before we've been doing a lot of reading and stuff, right? But we're going to take a break from that and do some writing. Okay? So what we're going to do, and I'll put the story up here. I have it down here for me too. But what I want to talk about is how to organize an opinion writing. And it may look a little bit differently than how Ms. Ansley talks to you about it, but it should be pretty much the same stuff because we know not every single 2 writings is the exact same, right? So the organization might be a little bit different. So I put up here on this little anchor chart the different parts of an opinion writing. So what's the first part always? Okay, and I put 2 things that your introduction needs to have. What are they? A hook and a claim. What is a hook?
A hook is like a question that you ask before.
Okay, just for sake of time, I'm going to kind of go through here and show you what was left on this anchor chart. It said introduction, and then it said a hook, and then a claim. First point with 2 to 3 reasons, second point with 2 to 3 reasons and details. The last paragraph was conclusion, and I believe what it said was restate your reasons, or summarize your reasons, and then restate your claim. So I gave her just a really simple outline just like that with blanks that she was able to fill in, and I think it was great. So I want to pull up the post-assessment data really quickly and discuss where she grew. She went up to 96% phonemic awareness. She got up to for phonics, she got up to 60% word spelled correctly and 79% feature points. Not exactly as much as I'd hoped, but still pretty good. Then vocabulary, she got 13 out of 14. Fluency, she got up to 75 words per minute. And comprehension, she got an instructional and a frustration on level 4, which I think is excellent. Writing skills, she got up to an 82%. So that was kind of the biggest area of growth that I noted was in her writing.